Hello, craftin' buddies. It's Late Night Lori from Laura's Little Bit of Craftin'. I am coming to you on Saturday, October 11th at 11:39 p.m. here in Wisconsin. I'm in the United States, and as many of you know, I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So let me take just a minute to get my devices set up here so I can watch to see if anybody joins me, and I can try to follow along with any comments if there are any. So welcome. If you are new to my channel, or even if you've been here before, let me know where you're joining me from. Feel free to comment throughout the live here. I enjoy it when those that join me collaborate with me and we can kind of make a project together. If you're crafting on your own stuff, have at it. If you are just sitting back and relaxing and trying to have something to help put you to sleep, this might be it for you. So give me just a second. Maybe you can hear me typing and maybe you are like super impressed at the speed at which I type. All right, I think we are ready. So, a couple of quick announcements. I'm going to try to make them super quick. Stampin' Up! Has a bunch of new products that released here in October. We have 3 new kits. Go check them out. Kits are great because everything you need is in the box, from any paper, card bases, stamp set, ink spot, adhesives, embellishments, anything you need is in the kit. Unless you like to change it up and not follow instructions, which is what I oftentimes do. We also have last chance products. This is basically like the clearance aisle at other stores. Whatever's on this clearance, the last chance products, once they're gone, they're gone. They won't be back. They will be discontinued at that point. However, if you see bundles on the last chance products list, sometimes all that means is the bundle price is going to be discontinued. So when you buy a bundle, like a stamp set and dies, or a stamp set and a punch, something like that, you get a 10% discount when you bundle them, if that's how Stampin' Up! Has them offered. So sometimes they will discontinue that bundled pricing, but the products themselves will still be available. So watch that on the last chance products. It doesn't always mean a bundle of things is going to be gone. Virtual craft class coming up on October 23rd. This is 2 o'clock Mountain Time. This will be about 2.5 hours, is my understanding. Stampin' Up! Is going to have some of their artistic people there. They're going to explain how the suite was produced, kind of the backstory. They're going to teach us some techniques, give us some tips. We'll get a PDF of the projects that are going to be covered. There's going to be 4 of them. We just have itty bitty little icons here that have just a little snippet of what's going to be in each project. There are going to be 3 cards and 1 home decor item. That's all I know. That's the only hint they've given us. This online class is available for purchase from me through my online store for $30. There'll be a Facebook group. The video that the event will be available on Facebook long after that. So you can go back and rewatch things and look at the tips again, convert those projects to something that's relevant for whatever season you happen to be in at the time. So I've ordered mine. I'm already in the Facebook group. I'm anxious to get ready to do this. Normally, I would offer a watch party for this and have my studio open. However, I'm not going to be able to do that for this event. I may do, if there's interest, though, a watch party after the fact. I already have a commitment with one of my team members that afternoon, so I can't do the watch party that day. So I will be watching it later. But we have a supplies list, and the suite actually that is going to be used for this kit, some elements of it have sold out. It's been very popular. I think people are really anxious for this class. So you may have to use your stash, and there's nothing wrong with using your stash. I have to admit, I did not order the suite. I ordered the paper, and I didn't order all of the other things, so I will be crafting from my stash. All right. We are in a new month for Paper Pumpkin, so we are cycling for the November kit. This will close on November 10th. So if you're interested in this, it looks like we're going to have craft tags and gift boxes. And there are also these add-on dies. These are really fun. Stampin' Up! Has been doing these quarterly. And the dies coordinate with each of the 3 Paper Pumpkin kits for that quarter. So the Joy probably coordinates with one of these. Okay. The foliage piece or the flowers coordinates with the December one that will kind of be geared maybe more for some spring things. So that's what that is about. If you are not already a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you can find out more about that either by reaching out to me or going to my website. If you go to shop, there's a category for Paper Pumpkin. And the big deal this month, only through the end of October, Stampin' Up! Has the sweetest deal I've ever seen. The sweetest deal a lot of my demonstrator friends have ever seen. And many of them have been demonstrators for over 20 years. Stampin' Up! Is offering $90 worth of free product. So you get to pick out $125 worth of whatever you want. Nobody picks your kit for you. And you only have to pay $35, plus your tax, of course. Stampin' Up's going to cover the shipping. Stampin' Up's going to give you a free Paper Pumpkin kit. It'll be a surprise. It probably will not be one of the current months. They'll send you some catalogs and other business supplies if that's what you want to do. You don't have to. You can simply be a kitnapper. And I have had people join my team that's their very intention, is to just take the kit and run when they're done. And that's in fact how I joined. I joined for whatever deal was going on back in 2017, and I've stayed ever since. So I came for the bonus, kind of hung around for the discount, but I've been here for the long haul because of the community of stampers. And last night on my live, I think one of the gals, I think it was last night, was talking about that. And part of it is, you know, we're a community, and you kind of, I don't know, you're my peeps. You become friends. So the other offer, if you want a larger ticket item, let's say you want a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. For this offer, you can't go over the $125. And the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is more than $125. So you couldn't purchase it on this. You could purchase it on a separate order. And I'll get to that in just a second. But with this, if you wanted a larger ticket item, you can go up to $189. And you'll get everything for $99. So it's still $90 worth of free product. All right. Now, some of the benefits to joining, obviously the community, but after your starter kit, you get to take advantage of 20% off all your products, all your goodies, all the things that you need from Stampin' Up. That $20 or 20% discount can actually increase to 25% over time. Okay. And it can be quick or short, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do videos, you don't have to teach classes, you don't have to do any of that if you don't want. You can be a kitnapper. You can just be a discount diva. Some of my girls just are in it for getting the discount. You can be a community coach. Maybe there are some friends or relatives, your neighbors, that you just want a few people to craft with. Go for it. You can build a business if you want. There are some women that do it full time, and it's a big business for them. For me, it's just kind of my hobby job, I guess I could call it. But I enjoy sharing what I love here. So these are really good deals. And like I said, you get that discount. You also get access to products before general customers. And we're in a current pre-order month right now, so we have access to items that won't be coming out until November, so we get to see them early and order some of them. We also get access to catalogs early, and online exclusives early, so we can start seeing some of the things that we want before other people can. Sometimes we're limited in what we can get, but it's still nice to be in the know early, right? And who doesn't need $125 worth of stuff that you can get for $35, and basically no strings attached. So, phew, that's the end of my short commercial that always seems to go a little bit longer. I get kind of excited about some of the specials because Stampin' Up! Just has a lot of things. And, I love it that everything that I get is color coordinated. I can shop for it online and it all gets delivered to my door. I don't have to go to 3 or 4 or more stores trying to find what I need. So, let's get down to business. Tonight we're going to do another one of the projects from this 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar. I didn't look today. I can look quick though. I want to make sure it's still available. It was yesterday. It is still available. So that's a good thing. This is a $99 kit, and it's not a kit, it's a collection of products. So I will show you why. It's big. So we're looking at, 10.5 inches by like 11 3/4 inches. It's 2 inches thick. The box is even, if you're into like the junk journaling and just journal making or making other home decor items, this would be a really pretty piece for that. These would be fun to make into a project. But this has 12 doors. Check my video from a few nights ago. I couldn't wait. I opened up every single door. All right. And I looked at all of the products. So there are dies in here. There's DSP in here. There's some glitter glue, and the glitter doesn't come off, so it didn't make me crazy. That was nice. We have masks. We're going to use some masks tonight. There are labels, ephemera. There are some fun foam embellishments. These are really cute. There's some other glimmery and shimmery embellishments. Baker's twine, memory and more cards. What else? Oh, there's some embossed cards too. So it's just loaded with different things. And even after you've used up the paper and maybe used up the embellishments, there are dies and masks and things that you'll be able to use for a long time. And it came with this stamp set. There are 24 stamps in here. So you can do some flowers, you can do some butterflies, there's some leaves, and then all kinds of fun little sentiments. So I'm going to get the box out of the way. I will work on making that little commercial a little shorter. But for now, it is what it is. We are going to work on this recipe tonight. Now, as a demonstrator, Stampin' Up! Has available to me recipes for all of the products. So when we have an annual catalog, demonstrators get the recipes. When we have a mini catalog, we get the recipes. When we have online exclusives or product collections like this, we have access to the recipes. So basically, Stampin' Up! Spells out the items that were used to make the samples that the creative people at Stampin' Up! Have made for us. But they tell us what we use and if there's extra techniques. We, however, have to figure out the measurements. They don't give us the measurements. So they don't just spoon feed it. We got to work for it a little bit. But this is what we're going to do tonight. Now, these are 3x3 cards. And if you're going to use them as just little note cards, you can put into like gifts or a gift bag or something, that's fine. If you're going to mail them, they're going to be kind of small. You'll have to check your mailing requirements. And they do have 3x3 envelopes. I'm pretty sure we still have 3x3 envelopes. So let's start doing these note cards. All right. And I think I'll try to, let's move this up out of the way again. And let's hopefully I can keep that clear. So the first thing I am going to do, I think, is make the card bases. So we're going to use some thick basic white. And the thick, I don't know how many pounds it is, but I don't know if you can hear. This is pretty thick, and this is the thin. So it's a little, you can hear it's a little lighter. That's what we're going to use. I'm going to do it for under these Memory and More pieces, I think, because we need the sentiments on there. So I am going to do this. The note cards are going to be 3 by 6. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 3 inches this way. And 3 inches. And 3 inches. Now I'm left with just what, 2 inches? All right, so of my 11, I'm using 9 of it. And then here we're going to do these to 6 inches. And then this I can save for other sentiments. So if you are joining me live, feel free to comment. Let me know where you're joining from. I will try to keep up with the comments as we go. And if you've not been here before, we do kind of collaborative crafting here. So if anybody who's watching has some suggestions, we'll take a look at them. All right. So I'm going to score these now at 3 inches so that we can make our little note cards, or little 3 by 3 cards. Whoops. And I'm going to go ahead and do all 3 of them. Now, the recipe almost had me a little stumped because I wasn't finding the paper that I needed. It was kind of wild. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fold these and burnish them. And then I can just kind of set these out of the way for now. So these end up, you know, the finished size is 3 by 3, but we start them out 3 by 6, of course. And then with these, I made a bigger print so I could see it a little bit better. But I thought this was the Designer Series paper. As it turns out, we're using these little ephemera or these Memory and More cards. So this is the card that we're going to use for this one. This is the card because it's got a little scalloped here and then it's just like a watercolor. We're going to use this for that one. And I thought, yeah, this is the card for this one. Here, I'm trying to move that card out of the way and it's on the paper. So this is the one we use for that. Now, obviously, these are rectangular, so they're going to be too big to go on our card. So we're just going to cut these down a little bit. Let me put these away. And we are going to cut these into, I'm just going to go down a little bit. So instead of 3 by 3, I'm just going to take it down 2 little like eyelashes here to 2 7/8. Whoops. I need my cutting blade, not the scoring blade. And 2 7/8. And before I cut the other ones, I'm going to lay this out and just see if that's the look I want. So that's really snug on there. And the sample shows a little bit more white space. So let's trim it down a little bit more. I'm going to go another 1/16. So we'd be at, let's see, 3 lines short of the 3 inches. Stuck in there. So 1, 2, and 3, and let's see how that looks. All right, so that's better. I like that better. All right, so there's our first one. So we're going to go 3 eyelashes less than the 3 inches. So we're just 1/16 of an inch past 2 3/4. All right, and that'll be for the second one. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the bottom first because I want to make sure I have that scalloped on there. And then I'm going to go here and I'll just cut off the rest that gets me to the measurement that I need. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3. So that would be 13/16. So 2 and 13/16 if you don't mind math. All right, and then I want to take a little bit off of each side because I want these scallops to kind of match up. So I think we're going to be pretty close here. All right, so we got a little bit of scallop over here and a little bit of scallop over here. All right, so I think we're done with the cutting. And I'll get some of my scraps out of the way and my trimmer out of the way. And then we're going to use these stylish shapes dies. So, oh, you know what I could have done? I was supposed to use the die for that. And then I wouldn't have even had to have done any math. Hopefully it'll still work. Let's line this up. Oh yeah, it'll still work. So that we have those little stitched marks around there. All right, so let's go ahead and get out my little Betsy. This is my little Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully do this pretty straight. I'm going to put this just face up for right now so that I can get my paper centered in here because I cut it like exactly as tight as it needed to be. And in fact, I'm going to move this to my top plate because I'm going to tip this over. We're going to just try something here. And hopefully this will work. So if you're going to recreate this, use your dies rather than cutting down that memory and more piece. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. And then I will flip this over and hold everything tight as I run it through. And hopefully I'll be good to go. Now usually when I have square dies, I try to lead with a corner rather than the flat edge. Like here, I led through with the flat edge. And you can see it was a little bit more snug going through. Look at that, beautiful. All right, and we just have the little thinnest edge of paper that I needed to have with the stitched edges. So let's do this again. We are going to put this back on the top plate. And line this up. And I can try to tilt it a little bit and we'll see how much of a difference you can tell when I run it through. And now I'm putting the plate that I normally cut onto because I've got the cutting blade up. So now I'm going to flip it over. Normally I don't do that, but because I'm working with such a small border, I want to be able to see how it's all lining up. Now you might have been able to tell that was just a little bit easier with that corner leading through. And again, we have just the thinnest little amount that needed to get cut off of there. All right, last one. We've been doing pretty good here, so hopefully we'll be all lined up right. Whoops. There we go. And I didn't get it tilted so that the corner was going through first. So we're gonna fight with that straight edge a little bit. But it worked. Success. That is some pretty good trimmer cutting there, that it was so close. So then what we need to do is, each of these, we need to cut circles out of them to make like this raised layer. So this white layer underneath will be out of our basic white thin. So these we did with the thick, but we're going to put another layer. Well, we wouldn't even have to, because we can stamp that right on here. All right, so anyway, let me find the right size circle. And these again are the stylish shaped dies. They're really handy to have. So I think this is a good size for us. Now I could probably cut 2 of these at the same time, but since this is like a Memory and More card, it's a little thicker, so it's not like doing it on designer series paper. And let's see if I can keep this straight on here without using washi tape. All right, and this circle then, I'm going to save it for something else. You never know what I'll think of that we can do another project with the leftovers. I like doing leftovers when we have die cut, like void spaces, the space you don't need. Well, I guess that's still pretty good. And again, we'll save that little circle. We don't need it for this project. And then I think this will be our last die cut. If I'm looking at the sample correctly, because the little flowers that are on here, some of them are embellishments and some of them are fussy cut. All right, and one more little circle. That'll be fun because there's really like no design there, but we do have the blue hue flowers on there. So let's get these all put away and go to the next step. So we'll put this away. And let's see what's next. I think what we'll do is maybe the stems. We're going to do some blending brushes with the decorative masks. So let me pull in a piece of scrap paper here. And we're going to use some Old Olive ink. And I may use a blending brush that I already have colored with Old Olive, or I might use this cute little brush that came with these masks. So we get 4 masks. They're all numbered. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first 2 are for floral images, and then the second 2 are for the greenery, the foliage. So we're doing the foliage for this one. And we are going to kind of put this right in here. And I'm just going to put just a very small pencil mark over here so I can see where that circle ends. And we're going to do, it has us doing 3 first. But I think I want to do the stem first, just because I'm afraid if I do the leaves, I won't have everything lined up how I need to. So if we have that like this, I think that'll work. The stem, maybe I need to have it down just a little bit more because we have to put hugs up here and there's going to be some flowers here. So I think that'll be pretty good. So what I'm going to do here also is there's a little notch in here, and the purpose for that notch, hello Bonnie, welcome. All right, so there's a notch in the masks, and that is to help you line up your mask. All right. If you've got a positioning tool, or you can tape it to, like, if you've got a glass mat. Juju was on a roll. She was so funny. I know, she is pretty funny. I did not go to her live tonight because I figured I might get wrapped up and I'd end up being later on mine than I wanted to be. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. I am just to the point where I'm using masks for this 5th project out of this Advent. Hey Juju, welcome. All right, we're just going to do, oh, I was going to try this with the brush that came with the kit, wasn't I? Interesting. So I think just because I've used them more, I'm a little more comfortable with my bigger blending brush. You were almost late to your own live, Juju? See, that's why I have a time range that I come live. All right, so there's our little stems. Now let's go ahead and add some leaves. So I'm going to put that notch right there, and then I can see where these leaves will match up to where I had them. Now I do need to be careful on the edge here because I don't want leaves showing over the edge of where this piece is going to go. So I want to make sure that I stay in kind of far. So maybe some washi tape would be a good idea for me. And I have some old petal stuff. I don't even remember what this was called. I'll just put some of that there, and that'll protect the ends. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little bit more. So what were you working on tonight that you were cheaters? Oh, she wasn't mad though, it was just teasing. All right, so there's a leaf. All right, and then we'll be able to erase this. Now I need to do this 2 more times for these other little cards. That little notch mark might not show, but it might. That little mark might show also. All right, so where's my next little card base? Here we go. So we're going to do the stem first. And this does not have to be an exact science. I just have to have room for some flowers and the hugs. And we'll see if those leaves even show on there. They might not even really show. All right, so let's just do our little line here. Well, it's good there's no drama. It should be fun. Now again, I'm being careful here so I don't go too far Like I don't want any of the old olive showing on that border that we're going to have. All right. So let's go ahead and do this on the third one right away. And that should be pretty good. And I'm just going to mark that. Whoop, I'm going to mark the notch on here also. And if it shifts a little bit, you can, I mean, once you've done a couple, you can kind of line up where the next mask needs to be and figure out your design. All right, so we're done with that one. And we'll take this one. I'm going to line up this. This is the notch I'm talking about in case you couldn't see it with all the white. Then I can line these up. A lot of times what I'll do is I will also make a line like on the bottom of the mask at a corner so that I can line up at 2 points. But these were so small with these little note cards that it wasn't practical to do that because I wasn't taping down my card. And my fingers are getting a little green, but that's all right. And those leaves, like I said, might not even show anyway. All right, one last one here. Now I think I'm also going to maybe die cut a few of these little leaves as some extra texture on here. We'll see how it looks because I think they have those fussy cut on the sample. It's kind of hard to tell. But if I can die cut instead of fussy cussing, I'm good with that. All right, so there's all of our blending. Now, the instructions said I only needed Flirty Flamingo and Old Olive, but I can see on this sample that there's also, well, that's a Flirty Flamingo, but it looks like we also have the Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to go grab that ink pad too, because I put it away from yesterday. Because we have a different sentiment color on each one. All right, so the other thing then, oh, and all the flowers are a different color too. So let me get a piece of that basic white, and we're just going to start stamping some flowers. Let me put this die where I'm not going to lose it, because it's kind of small. And we'll get the blending brushes out of the way. All right. So we have, let me get these masks out of the way too. Get rid of some of the debris. And those are just going in the sink. I'll wash those in a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and erase these little pencil marks here that I used for those masks. The second and third ones I wrote pretty light. This first one I made it a little too dark. Hopefully it won't show. All right, what do we want to do next? So I think we're going to stamp flowers. All right, so those are going to kind of go like this. That's each of our little cards here. So let's do, we need some Flirty Flamingo flowers. And this is where it wants me to fussy cut. Looks like they have 3 on each one. All right. There's one set. chamois. And then we'll do a set in the Misty Moonlight. Oh, and it looks like I need some crushed curry too. So the recipes sometimes don't have exactly everything you need. I think sometimes maybe they start with some prototype samples and then end up changing the samples and haven't changed the instructions. So did anybody do anything fun today? How was your Saturday? Well, technically yesterday for me, because it's now Sunday. All right. And then maybe, yep, I'm gonna fussy cuss because I love it. But I'm gonna just put some blending here so I don't have to go get more old olive paper, and I'm gonna just cut out some of those leaves with the die. And then we'll have some variated color here. I think that should be enough to do 2 or 3 leaves. Or I could, is there a stamp for the leaves? Let me look. There is a little stamp for the leaf. Yeah, here's a little stamp for the leaf. And let me find another block. You cleaned and organized. Well, why don't you come up to Wisconsin? Because I could really use somebody to do some cleaning and organizing, let me tell you. Those are kind of nice there. Let's just do a little bit of this too, and we'll fussy cut a few of those maybe. And I think the die, oh, we won't have to fussy cut any of those. So let me stamp one more set. Because then each one will have 3 leaves. The flowers I have to fussy cut. Oh, I thought I was washing my stamp. That was silly. And I'm wondering why it's getting a different color. We had our granddaughter with us this afternoon, and she's doing a sleepover. She wanted to do a video this afternoon, but I might have to edit it. We'll see. I'm not sure. All right, so I'm going to close this up because I think we're done with that. And then let's do some die cutting. I don't know if it'll be faster to die cut or fussy cut. Sometimes it's a horse apiece. And if these dies are a little bit off of where I've got the ink blended, I don't really care, because they'll still have color behind them. So Bonnie, what did you do today? Because now you get to be bored watching me die cut things. So I putzed around most of the morning. We went with a friend of ours to the hardware store. He helped us get some wood that we needed for our coop set up in the backyard. And then we got our granddaughter. Who has Pizza Ranch by them? Anybody have Pizza Ranch in your area? It's basically a pizza salad buffet sort of thing. And they'll make pizzas made to order if you want. And you get first pick of the pieces and then they just put it out for everybody. Oh, that's nice, Bonnie. But then they also have an arcade for the kids. So Bonnie, you're familiar with Pizza Ranch. So whenever we get our granddaughter, we'll ask her, oh, are you hungry? Yeah, can we go to Pizza Ranch? So we always know that she's gonna run a Pizza Ranch run, which is fine. Except for the fried chicken. I would say it's all relatively healthy because they have some really good salad options. You've never gone, huh, Bonnie? I usually see people, and when you're like standing in line or somebody's, peeking at stuff, you just randomly start conversations. And for us, it's in another municipality. So it's not like it's that far of a drive for us, but it's not like right in our area. But everybody's always so nice. Because these are, small towns where I am. If you like buffets, well, those got kind of... I probably should have just done all the ones with the ink blending because I think I like those better. But that's all right. You should maybe try it sometime if you like a very casual buffet sort of place. And I guess the prices are comparable to other places in our area. Everything has gotten pretty expensive, but, as places go, they're pretty in line with other places. All right, we're almost done with those. Then we get to Fussy Cuss. That'll be fun. Oh, okay. You might have tried it out. That memorable, huh? I doubt that we would go as often as we go if it weren't for our granddaughter. She likes doing all the little games, She can do a little skee ball. She can do a little Connect Four basketball game and the little claw games that I never used to be very good at, but I can actually get a couple of them. We help her so she can get her little prizes that probably cost more for us to pay to play than it would if we just went to the store and bought the stuff, but it's fun. And then by the time we got home, the chickens got to go out for a little while, and we played I think just one hand of Uno. And then it was time to get ready for bed, so, for her. All right, leaves are done. I think I like the leaves best that have the blending around them. I kind of like them all green. So I'm just going to see if I can add a little bit of color maybe. because those white edges just seem like they're really stark to me today. No, our granddaughter doesn't live with us. It's almost like she did for a while. When she was younger, her mom was not married, and we were actually there for our granddaughter's birth. It was a difficult birth, and we were there for the whole thing. And her mom was working second shift when she finally went back to work, so we actually had our granddaughter a lot, probably more waking hours than mom did. But now that she's gotten older and started school, because she's in second grade now, we get her every other weekend. She likes to come hang out with us, so that's fun. But it reminds us why we don't have children at our ages, because she can be very energetic. So my husband's usually the one that'll take her to the park when she wants to go to the park, and I will take her to the craft room. And we will create things. So, all right, time for some fussy cussin'. Hopefully these will go pretty quick, because they're not super detailed. Our granddaughter has apparently told her mom on occasion that she wants to come live with us. Well, I want to go live with Grandma and Papa. And then her mom will say, well, that can be arranged. We're going to be gone for a month. You can go there. And then she doesn't like it that her mom's going to be gone for a month, of course. So you know how kids are. They say things they don't really mean. All right, one down. A few more to go. All right. I might have to take my sweatshirt off. I'm working up a sweat here. It's a shame they didn't have a die for this flower. I keep looking to see if there's a die for the flower, but there's not. I got a little close to that one edge, but it's not going to matter. Phew. 2 down. We're almost a third of the way done. So Juju, what was so funny with your live tonight? Anything unusual? I'll have to pop in, of course. But I knew that if I popped in, because I saw you were live when I was getting things kind of pulled together for mine. But I thought if I started watching, then I would lose track of time probably and end up being late to come on here. And Juju, yes, it is fun to have her here. She has, I think I've mentioned before, but she has her own desk in my relatively small studio, craft room. And she loves to just go and create. Sometimes she can be very meticulous. So if she takes like a card kit that I've created, she will copy it so that it's exactly right and looks like exactly like the sample. But then if like tonight I just gave her a bunch of the Halloween stuff and she just threw stuff together and she just finds all kinds of elements and glues them all together, and she made a mummy out of the gingerbread guy because I had seen an ornament at Walmart actually that looked like our gingerbread man, but as a mummy for Halloween. And I've seen a couple of samples like that, you know, scrolling through my Facebook notifications and stuff. So it's not like it was my own idea to suggest that to her, or it's not like she came up with it either. So she made one of her guys a mummy and she made one a witch. A lot of smack talking, huh? So cowboy book number 2. Okay. It's interesting to watch. I don't know that I'll ever do any junk journaling, but it gives me some ideas. Like I never would have thought to really take like a children's book. I don't know, I don't know who was doing the little golden book, if that was yours, Juju. But I never would have thought to take that and kind of make it into something else. I'm like, well, that's a fun idea. All right, I need to take my sweatshirt off. Phew. And I might have to turn on my fan. Pam does a lot of them right now, yeah. And I don't pop into hers quite as often. I'm pretty sure she starts before mine, but she goes long after I've cleaned up. So a lot of times I'll have hers running when I'm cleaning up. Even if I don't chit-chat along, I'll at least stop in and give some view hours and a like or whatever. Oh, you should do that, Bonnie. That would be cute, Mary Poppins. Yeah, golden books actually were manufactured in the same city where I lived. So I lived in Racine, Wisconsin, until 2000. 2000 is when I moved out to where I am now, in my semi-rural location. It's gotten less rural as some of the farmland gets sold off, of course, and people build houses. But yeah, we used to go to the Golden Books outlet store. I'm trying to think what they called it. But we could just load up. It was amazingly inexpensive for us. You would drag around a box around this little small warehouse and you could just load it up and just get stuff very inexpensively. So it was nice having Western Publishing in our city. We also had Johnson's Wax in our city, and Johnson's is still there. They're a big benefactor for the city there. But I'm actually in, obviously, a different municipality. I'm still in the same county, so it's Racine County, but the city of Racine, where some of those businesses are. We had Modine, we had Case, company that does tractors, a lot of manufacturing when I was growing up and, you know, into adulthood, and now, you know, Western Publishing is gone, and it's a shame. All right, so give us a heads up when you start that Mary Poppins book. We're going to want pictures. All right, all the flowers are done. That wasn't too bad, I hope. All right, now we also have, oh yeah, Hirschner's. I almost forgot about them. They weren't in my county, but we also have Rippin' Good Cookies. What else is there? Big stuff that was in Wisconsin. Kimberly Clark. So Kleenex stuff in Neenah, Wisconsin. Yeah, Hirschner's. I forgot about them. All right. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and glue these on because I think we're ready for that step. Is Hirschner still in business? I haven't had a catalog from them in like forever. Budweiser. Oh yeah, we've got Miller. Palermo Pizza is in Milwaukee. Haribo gummy bears and stuff are in Kenosha. Jockey International used to be in Kenosha, which is near me. Man, we just had a ton of stuff here. And now we had, or is that St. Louis? What, Budweiser? We had Miller beer. I don't know if we had Budweiser. I don't drink beer, so. Oh, interesting. I didn't know Hirschner's was still a thing. That is good to know. Not that I've been crocheting any time in the recent and distant past, but I do love to crochet. I may have to look them up now that you've reminded me about it and get a catalog. I like having paper catalogs. I mean, I don't mind shopping online, but I like having the paper catalog and the ideas, like even with the Stampin' Up! Catalogs, because there's so many ideas in there, you know? And I hang on to those catalogs because you look through stuff and, you know, even if the papers aren't, you know, fashionable anymore, the ideas can be applied to things that are current. I think this goes like this. Now we'll see if there was a reason why I shouldn't have glued these together, but I wanted to get my pieces squared away. All right, so now we are going to put these flowers on some mini dimensionals. All right, so Budweiser is St. Louis, but St. Louis always also has the Louisville Slugger Museum, right? They had a really cool, my husband and I were going through there a number of years ago, and they had like this big old warehouse, like a pub that was really good, and a bridge that was fun to walk on. It was big. It was over their river. We didn't make it to the Louisville Slugger Museum because we were too late and it had closed. Yes, I am a cheesehead from Wisconsin, so our Green Bay Packers are just a few hours from me. Have you ever heard of the Racine Raiders, though? They are a semi-pro football team, and they are from Racine. And I volunteered for them for about a dozen years. And one year I was actually, I had to take over the GM duties because our GM stepped down mid-season. So I got to do all of the planning and trips, and that was a fun time. I had fun doing that. So I do like football, but since they all started using it as a platform for other things, I don't find it as entertaining. So we don't really watch football much anymore. College football more than anything else. And I think some of these leaves, I'm not going to be able to really put them up on dimensionals, but I might curl them. Gateway Arches in St. Louis. I have never been there. I mean, I've seen them, but I've never been in the arches. I would like to do that. I have been on the Golden Gate Bridge. I've been on the Brooklyn Bridge. So coast to coast, big bridges, right? All right, so let's do hugs next because we need to put, maybe I should put the flowers. No, because I want to be able to stamp flat. So the next thing I'm going to do is the hugs. but we need to be careful to just stamp on the hugs. And I don't know if I can, let me try to do surgery here, because that will make it a little easier. I was just a little leery with how close the Y is to the S, and I didn't want to ruin a letter. But I think we'll be okay. All right, Stampin' Surgery. That'll make it easier to stamp. So this one we're going to do Strawberry Slush, this one we're going to do the blue, and this one we're going to do the Crushed Curry. Oh, get over there. All right, so here we'll do this, I guess it's Flirty Flamingo, not Strawberry Slush. Let's just sample and see how this stamps. Oh, that's good. I don't remember if I used that stamp yet or not. I don't think so. All right, so I'm going to move this over a little bit so I can kind of look at the grid lines here maybe, and hopefully get it a little straight. All right, and then we'll do this one in Misty Moonlight. The Cubs lost tonight. They played the Brewers, right? The Milwaukee Brewers that are like just a little north of me. Yeah, sorry, I have to side with the Brewers. They haven't gone to the World Series since 1982. I think. That was the year my daughter was born. I probably should not have shared that, because then it shows how old she is. And our kids get older, we don't, but still. Fun. Your Cubs did? Yeah, the Brewers have apparently been on fire. All right, and then I need Crushed Curry for this one. Okay, cool. All right, Bonnie, so we're probably pretty close in age then, because my daughter's going to be 43 this year. Let me clean these off and put them away so I don't lose them. I think it's easier for me to remember how old my kids are than how old I am. It's like, oh yeah, let me do some math. I don't remember. Part of it is that, you know, I can't control my age, so what's the point in, you know, really keeping track of it? Although, when you find out you're eligible for some discounts, it's good to know. All right, so that can go back there. And then the flower, I already know. What did I do with the flower? Here it is. Ooh, I'm just barely older than you. Just barely. All right, that can go there, and then my leaf. I just don't want to lose these, so sorry. But when people complain about, oh, I'm getting so old, or, you know, oh, I can't handle being 30 or 40 or 50, it's like, I can't control when I was born. Just go with it. All right. So next up on the hit parade is some of these Hues of Blues flowers. We are going to colorize them. So I need, looks like I need 2 or 3 of them. Oh, I guess I've got 4. 1, 2, 3. No, I guess it is 3. 4. Nope, 4. All right, so they're going to do a couple in the clear. So we're going to do, it doesn't probably have to be exact, but we'll do a color one there, a paper one there, a color one here, a paper one there, and then I guess another colored one there. So we're going to do because we have 2 that are pink, so we'll do this one over here, I guess. All right, and then I'm going to take the Flirty Flamingo. It's an alcohol blends. Yeah, right, tell them to be quiet. Or what cracks me up is when they're that age and they think they've got the world all figured out. And then when you say something and you might disagree with them, like, okay, well, you'll figure it out. Oh, yeah, you were right. Yeah, no kidding. I've been around a while. I've had a lot of life experience. All right, so we're going to do 2 of those. I'm going to go get, I'm going to have to use Daffodil Delight to color those because we don't have a crushed curry alcohol blend. And I'm going to get my Misty Moonlight alcohol blend. Oh, maybe I'll use Darling Duckling. That'll work. And I'm just going to give those a little bit to dry. They're alcohol. It shouldn't take too long. They say back in the day. I know, right? Back in the day. They're puppies. Juju staying kind of quiet out of this conversation. All right. We're going to let those dry. And then let's go ahead and start putting some of these on. Oh, I need this one. So I need more white ones. So we're going to do a white or a clear one, I guess. Maybe they're clear. I don't know. Who knew this would take so long, right? Just to make 3 little cards. But I'm never in a race to get cards done. This is my relaxation time. Yeah, no doubt. She's either sitting back relaxing. Maybe my calm, soothing voice has put her to sleep. All right. We're going to put this one here because one of those pink ones is going to go there. One of the embellishments. And then we're going to have, I guess I have more stems than they did. That's all right. It's all good. And then we're going to put on a couple of leaves. Okay, so your jelly printing cow prints. I have a cow punch that I used wobbles on, so the head wobbled. We're going to go like this. Yep, you called it, Bonnie. All right, let's see. I think these are dry. They look like they're dry. Usually I would use my take your pick tool, but in case they are still a little tacky, I don't want to smear anything off of there. All right, and then one more leaf on this one, I guess. All right, so there's one little one. That's kind of cute. Kind of cute. And these are cards that I would not have thought of to make, quite honestly. I don't use a lot of 3x3 cards, but I have to admit they are kind of cute. So let's say I want to give a little birthday gift or something to somebody, they'd be perfect to throw into something like that. What is Stampin' Up, or why are they always retiring their stuff? Because just like home decor things, colors change, or is this questions people ask you? Ideas and elements change, different colors come into fashion. It has surprised me, like with that, why is Stampin' Up always retiring their stuff? Yeah, just because they have to keep things fresh, otherwise people don't continue to want new product. You know, you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and they're always getting different stuff all the time. Walmart's always got a big clearance aisle. Oh yeah, I use my retired stuff too, but I also want new stuff. But like the gingerbread man, you know, to make a card out of that, I went to Walmart and I saw an ornament that was the same size as our gingerbread guy, done up as it was done up in 3 different things, like the mummy, I think like a Frankenstein, and then something else. So it's just what the trends are. You know, some of those concept artists, they go to conferences and stuff too. And, you know, I've gone to like different, like Home Goods and some of those places. I don't know if you have those by you, but they've got home decor items. And it surprises me how many different places have similar things, like the red truck. That was really big for a bit. Trolls were really big for a bit. And everywhere you went, you saw the same thing. You saw it in the same colors. So they have conferences where they talk, and it's like, okay, these are going to be our new in colors or our fashionable colors, you know, and it's just like, wow, you know, who'd have thought that? But too, they'll move stuff along that, you know, maybe it's just not selling. So if it's not selling in a catalog, you know, they don't want to be stuck with stuff either, so they'll move it to the last chance list. And the thing with, you know, like our annual catalog lasts a year. Mini catalogs come out twice a year. So we've got that January, February through May, end of April. The blue truck. Yeah, 'cause there's been like teal ones, like I just call it the red truck, like the antique truck. Red was really big, but they had a stamp and a punch, and you could make that truck any color you wanted. And with the alcohol blends, you could make it look rusty around the fenders, and people were doing some really cute things with it. So anyway, Stampin' Up! Has the online exclusives now so that they can rotate things a little more proactively and bring on new products as they see new trends start to come and go, you know. Whoops. So it's all trying to keep things fresh and interesting for people. Yeah, the truck is still pretty trendy. In fact, Stampin' Up! Had a kit. It might be sold out right now. A farm truck kit again that was just super popular. All right, so now we did all these little futzy things. At least putting it together is going a little faster. All right, let's find a place for these last couple of leaves. And then we're done. Oh, well, Juju, when you go to the online store, when you log in as yourself, of course, have you marked it to be notified when it comes in stock? Because you'll get an email when they have it, and then you can go in and order it right away. That feature, I think, works really well because I've been notified of stuff, and I've gone, as soon as I get the message, I go in right away and order it. So let me clear away some more of my debris. Oops, I guess I needed that. Oh, good. I'm glad you did that because it's a nice feature. And then there's also like inventory lists that we can look at and see when they're expected to get them in, so you can kind of have an idea. All right, so here are the little Stampin' Up! Versions of these cards. And ours are pretty darn close. I was not very inventive tonight, so ours are pretty close. But I think they're really cute. The colors are better in person, obviously, than you can get. So there's something you put to be notified and you can't remember what it was. I don't remember if there's a way to see what you've put in as notifications. I don't remember. All right, so that's that. Cute, don't you think? All right, and then I think I am going to finally finish off one other project. So this project, remember we did this a couple of nights ago? It's late, you can't think. That's all right, I hear you. I have done most of the prep on this one. I'm going to finish this one off quick because remember I said I wanted to do a card in each of the colors, and I wasn't super excited with this card that I used the sponge dauber on. Oh, let me see if I can get this out without... There we go. All right, so I wasn't real excited about the sponge dauber. So I went ahead and I prepped using my blending brushes. So here's the same color, but with my blending brush. It's a lot more subtle. So that's the Flirty Flamingo. And then, oh, the embossing sunflower, that is gorgeous. And that has been in and out and in and out and in and out of stock. It's been very, very popular. I have a bunch of videos from a while back, excuse me, that I did a number of different projects with that because it is just so pretty. So this is the crushed curry version. This is the old olive version. And I just think this is such a more subtle look than the harshness. I have never been very good with the sponge daubers, and that's what I did there. So I am going to do the Misty Moonlight version so that this, yep, I have all the rainbows. I have the sentiment all ready to go. So what I did with these 3 by 4 1/4 square layers for the front is I just dabbed them in my ink to give them some definition around there without having to daub. There's 2 levels of divider things in them. I'll have to go look more closely at those. I have another box idea I want to do that doesn't actually attach. The dividers are made a little differently than it looked like yours were. And one of these days when I make the time, I just feel like I have so many things that I'm juggling all the time. You're supposed to be less busy when you're retired, but you know, people say I'm busier than I ever was. And it's true. But it's stuff that I want to do. All right, so that now has some definition on the edges there. So that's in the Misty Moonlight. I'll have to go take a look at those, Bonnie. It won't be now though, because once I'm done here, I'm going to get some sleep because my granddaughter, I'm sure, is going to be up early in the morning. All right, so Misty Moonlight. I need to go get that blending brush. I should just know when I grab a color, I should just automatically grab my blending brush. All right, so let's do some little subtle blue here, just around the edges, just to soften it up. And I know Fifi had suggested stamping some images on the base, but I didn't have like a rainbow image. There is not one of those in the stamp set. And I just didn't want it to be more busy. I wanted it to be more simple. And I just want this color to be kind of subtle. Almost so it looks like it's stamped off rather than full strength. Oh yeah, I'd love to see that backpack too. Thank you. And I don't know if that if the other picture came through yet. I didn't see anything pop up, but I'm sure it'll get here. All right, almost done here. All right. And then Juju, you'll need to let me know if any of your gals want to be included on any of these other Facebook pages from Stampin' Up. Or our group. Because then I'll need like Facebook friend requests, or I'll have to send them a friend request because otherwise I can't invite them to some of these groups. They might be able to ask to be included by going directly. I can get you some of those things like the demonstrator planning place. All right, so I think we're done with that. Oh, the old payphones. That sounds fun. Sounds very fun. All right, so this is going to go here. You should be able to see the nice definition around the edge of that layer. But the background is still pretty subtle, so let's go ahead and glue this on. And I should probably make sure that these edges aren't going to smear anywhere. Because on one of my cards I had just a little bit of smearing on the layer underneath. I need to make some more of the backpacks that I've done. We've got a craft fair in an adjacent County in just a few weeks, and I need to decide if I want to try to get in on that, and I would make a bunch of backpacks for that and some other things, try to sell off some of my retired product. And there are certain things we can sell as cash and carry too, so I take kits and adhesives I can sell. So that cash and carry list is also in the print lab if you do any of that kind of stuff. There's a little smudge there. And I don't want to smear any ink, but I don't want the adhesive there. There we go. All right. So here's the Thinking of You. So this one, I don't know if you noticed, aside from this one, well, that one too. So the Flirty Flamingo is the background, and then everything else circled around, right? Here we had the crushed curry. So if I've got crushed curry, the Flirty Flamingo, Old Olive, the Misty Moonlight, I have them all in the same order. I just kind of shifted them, all right? So this one is going to be the Misty Moonlight here. The crushed curry is going to go here. And then we're going to have the Old Olive here. And the Flirty Flamingo there. And then the Sentiment will go here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Old Olive on first. Take all those little inside pieces off. Now, if you remember, I actually remembered to use my adhesive sheets on these before I did the die cutting. So I don't even have to use any liquid glue. All right, we are almost done. All right. I think that'll work. Okay, and then our Sentiment that I got all prepped. And we're done. So I can finally say I'm done with this box, although I am going to do a new lid because there's so much adhesive stuck on here that I can't get cleaned off. I'll do another window sheet to fix that up. So here's our 4 cards for my little box set. And this one, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might actually cut it down and put it on another new base. I'm just not happy with how harsh that color looks on there. I don't know. All right, so all of these will fit in our little box. And I'll put something on my envelopes too so they're not naked. And then this will fit in here. This will fit on here. And how cute is that? Their little multicolored rainbow there. All the colors of the cards. All right, so I feel good. I finally finished that. It's only been a few nights. All right. That's what we got. I'm glad you like them, Bonnie. They are cute. They always look cuter in person than they do in the catalogs too. So when I see something in the catalog and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like it, I make it and then I like it a lot better. You got your cover done, Juju. Yay. That's all right, Bonnie. It's all right if you did nothing. You're probably churning around ideas in your head and letting other ideas settle into place. Relaxing is good as well. So it's 1:15 here in Wisconsin, so I'm going to call it a night. I've been on for almost an hour and a half, just putzing around, but that's my style. Thanks for popping in with me. I appreciate the company. And Juju, I'll take a look at your stuff probably after I have a few hours of sleep, and I'll give you a thumbs up or whatever in some watch hours, right? So until next time, oh, and Bonnie, I'll watch for your stuff too to come through. So thanks so much, Bonnie. I appreciate that. Thanks for hanging out with me, Juju. All right, gals, get some sleep. Until next time, happy crafting.